Hey guys, this is Cam315 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back on the channel Cam315 talks sports and more football news in terms of the NFL wide world of free agency. This video is more dedicated to people who are Saints fans, but just in general of NFL news landscapings. And I know I'm kind of like a day late about this, or 2 days late about this. But Sean Payton, surprisingly shock of the offseason to this point, has called it a career. Well, for now, and he is retiring from, coaching football. So let's talk about it. So obviously, my thoughts on it. I wish I had like a guest host or something like that, but it is what it is. In the grand scheme of things, let's just talk about it. In the grand scheme of things, Sean Payton retiring from the game of football. Sean Payton's obviously a great coach. He's won a Super Bowl, and he's just a great offensive, game planner. Obviously, the question is, why did Sean Payton ultimately retire from football? Well, maybe, and maybe he just needed a year off with everything that's been going on. And then two, when you look at the whole aspect of the Saints, where the Saints are headed, it's not going in a positive direction. Yes, the Saints have a solid defense, but their offense is just like, it's okay, but it's not good either. And really, this truly started with the downfall of Drew Brees, when you could tell, okay, yeah, Drew Brees he's starting to get to that area where he's starting to get washed up and everything, and he can't even throw the ball down the field like, that much and everything. So, that kind of happened, and then Jameis comes in for a year. He gets hurt. It kind of derails their season. And then Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, Ian Buck, and it's kind of just a rotating door of quarterbacks for the Saints this past season. And, I probably just am guessing that Sean Payton wasn't feeling for it. He probably knew the time was coming to an end for the Saints. And, like we all said, that defense, it is solid, but that defense is starting to age and get older. And there's only so many years you can have solid to elite defense and everything. And I'm guessing Sean Payton saw the writing on the wall, and he's like, I'm probably gonna get out of it. Two, the Saints aren't really freaking good right now with their cap situation. Like, I believe they're going to be over the cap, which means they're gonna have to cut a lot of people, or get a lot of people out of the building, to just manage to get under the cap. And I'm guessing Sean Payton saw that as a way, okay, we're probably going to lose a lot of freaking talent. The offense isn't good. The Michael Thomas situation is already a thing within its own, because Michael Thomas wants out of New Orleans. He's been vehemently wanting out of New Orleans. New Orleans just says he had to trade him. The fact that he's also hurt too, and everything. And things in New Orleans isn't getting good. So I'm taking it as a way of Sean Payton wanting to get out and saying, you know what, I'm just gonna get out. Deuces, you guys showed me all sorts of love and respect. And I honestly, as a Saints fan, from my perspective, is this like news where you're like, gosh darn it, we're gonna lose our head coach. Now we're gonna be in a freaking head coaching search for a new guy. Yeah, but I think for what Sean Payton has done for the Saints and his tenure there, yes, could he have gotten to more Super Bowls as the Saints head coach? Yes, he should have. He most definitely could have went to more Super Bowls. Obviously, the Super Bowl where they should have possibly went to was the one where the Rams ended up going to play the Patriots in the Super Bowl, but because of a very fraudulent penalty, pass interference penalty, it cost the Saints a chance at getting back to the Super Bowl. But if I was a Saints fan, I wouldn't ultimately be mad, because, we had successful years. We consistently made the playoffs under Sean Payton, we at least got a Super Bowl out of Sean Payton. And there's nothing really else I can't be mad at, especially the standpoint, why is a, highly touted, predominantly made head coach going to stay on a team that, let's be honest, it's not going to end well. Unlike, say, a Belichick that as the years go by, he'll eventually retire, but he was successful in New England for years and stuff like that. But I think this is a way for Sean Payton just to take a year off, maybe a year or two off, just relax and recuperate, from the high intensity of football and everything, and then make a comeback. The thing about before I continue on with the Sean Payton talk, obviously, who could the Saints hire as their new head coach? They can't. Well, I guess you can say a leader is they're going to maybe potentially promote Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen did do one or two games as head coach, as interim head coach for the New Orleans Saints, and everything. And I believe Dennis Allen is a former time head coach. I know he was interested in the Bears, but obviously after the Sean Payton news came out, that meeting was canceled between the Bears and Dennis Allen. So I would guessing that there's a high chance they just promote Dennis Allen as the head coach of the team. In terms of looking out in the void of head coaching candidates, there's not really much of the candidates out there left. Byron Leftwich, he's out there. The only thing is, I don't know what's going on in that situation, but he's probably going to end up being the Jaguars head coach because because Nathaniel Hackett, who the Jaguars were interested in, he ended up going to the Broncos today, as well as another interesting candidate the Jaguars were interested in was Matt Eberflus, who my Chicago Bears, hired earlier today. So it essentially locks Byron Leftwich going to the Jaguars unless parties don't come together. And apparently, from what I heard, it's something to do with the GM and Leftwich not seeing eye to eye, and Leftwich doesn't want him in there and stuff like that. So maybe you give Byron Leftwich an interview and say, hey, why go to Jacksonville, but come here. But I think Byron Leftwich is probably going to go to Jacksonville because, just looking at the same situation, yeah, he's going to be given a talented defense, but he has no offense truly to work with. They could interview Todd Bowles. He's still out there, even though he's getting interviews from, I think, the Vikings and the Raiders, to be honest. Who else? Brian DeBole's out there, but I don't know if the Saints are interested in bringing Brian DeBole again, another offensive mind. He's linked between the Giants and the Dolphins and stuff like that. So that's kind of where it is. Other than that, there's really no other candidates out there truly as a head coach. So I think what the Saints will do is they'll just promote Dennis Allen to be their head coach going forward, unless they want to do a search real quick and do interviews and stuff like that. I just believe they're going to have to get on that stuff because these candidates are being taken off the board just like that and everything. In terms of the Sean Payton stuff, so like I said, Sean Payton, I think he might take a year or two off of coaching football, and then after then, he'll come back and probably want to go coach for another team. Now, the leading, candidate people are speculating as of now is the fact that Sean Payton and the Cowboys makes a whole lot of sense, which means, obviously, for that to happen, Mike McCarthy's going to have to get fired. Now, apparently, from what I know, there's a lot of people in the media, in the sports media, saying the Cowboys should fire Mike McCarthy. And honestly, I believe they should too. And I think maybe that's what Sean Payton could be doing. Maybe he wants to coach the Cowboys because he has some sort of tie. I don't know. He has some sort of tie to the Cowboys and everything. So he might want to actually coach there. And maybe he's waiting for Mike McCarthy to get fired. And maybe, guess what? That will have an opening there. And guess what? He can then be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, which I believe it would be something Jerry Jones would definitely freaking want to do. Now the whole thing is this, and this goes for any team that's interested in Sean Payton to be their head coach. The thing is, Sean Payton's still under contract for the Saints, so I believe 2025. In other words, that means for a team to obtain Sean Payton when he is ready to come back to coaching, they are going to have to trade for Sean Payton because the Saints has the rights to his contract. And obviously, by this way, you're going to probably have to give up a lot to get Sean Payton to come coach your team. And that goes for anybody. I wanted the Bears to freaking go get him when I heard this news, but then I heard he was retiring. But regardless of the fact, the Bears wouldn't even be able to get and trade for Sean Payton because, well, guess what? They don't have the draft asset capital. And then, two, I think Sean Payton doesn't like how the Bears do business, which I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to work for these clowns as much as I love the team. I would probably have to tell George and Ted to F off. But regardless, whoever is going to want Sean Payton, they're going to have to trade for him. And you're going to have to probably give up damn near a life savings of picks and potentially a player, I'm guessing, in order to get that deal done. So it's going to be very interesting to see where that happens. But I definitely can see why people say he could go to the Cowboys. It would definitely be a Jerry Jones move to do that, because he would say, if Mike McCarthy and Jason Garrett and a bunch of nobodies and stuff like that didn't take me the distance, then let me get, my new Jimmy Johnson, Sean Payton, to be my head coach. Now, I will say this. If that were to happen, I think we can stop calling the Cowboys a joke. I think that's when we would have to take the Cowboys absolutely freaking serious. Like, if you hear Stephen A. Smith talking on First Take, who constantly brags and makes fun of the Cowboys, saying that if Sean Payton gets on that Cowboys roster, I'll probably more than likely stop ridiculing them and stuff like that, because he's the real freaking deal. And stuff like that. And, based on what the offense looks like, if Sean Payton were to go there, you'd be probably crazy, insane offense, especially from the standpoint, you got your quarterback in place. I guess Zeke would be still there, all right, but I think he would start to wear down after that, maybe a year or two, and stuff like that. Offensive core, you still got Amari Cooper. You got some decent weapons there to work with, but listen, seemingly that seems to be, I guess, the move to make if you're the Cowboys when he then comes back to coaching football. But that's just it. I have nothing else really truly to say. I think that's what Sean Payton's whole goal is going to do, just to find a way to get onto another team and just have a new start somewhere else. But we'll see how this progresses and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. So if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on Sean Payton retiring from the game of football. Do you think he'll return? And if he does, what team do you think he's going to go to? Saints fans, I would also like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Sean Payton retiring? Are you upset about this? Are you fine with it and you're ready to move on and start a new era of New Orleans Saints football? Other than that, that's kind of it. Hit the subscribe button to Cam Free 15 Talks Pro Sports, or Talk Sports, really. I'm going to make sure I give you updates on generically any of the 3 major sports. I know there's 4 if you count NHL, but I don't really watch hockey. But MLB, NBA, and the NFL, in terms of the biggest news that has come out for them. I also, generically, if you want to get my thoughts on the Chicago Bears, I do talk Chicago Bears. They are my team. I will talk about the Bears alongside, other NFL news and stuff like that, as well as I'm also going to be recording with my Uncle Daryl the AFC and NFC Championship game preview / divisional round recap tomorrow, and it'll probably go up either sometime tomorrow or sometime on Saturday before the championship games go out. But other than that, that's kind of it, and that's really truly it. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully, you guys have a great rest of your day or night, or when checking out this video. Until then, guys, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.